have it. The chair recognizes the ranking member for the purpose of introducing our next witness.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'd like to introduce Mr. James Gleason from Sikeston, Missouri. Mr. Gleason is the President and CEO of NewWave Communications and has served in this capacity since 2003. Mr. Gleason currently serves as on the board of the American Cable Association and was formerly the chairman. It's an honor to have a fellow Missourian here before the committee, and thanks for coming to Washington to participate in our hearing today.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Gleason, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, Ranking Member Graves, and members of the committee. The ACA, based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, represents nearly 900 small and medium-sized cable companies, providing Internet access to predominantly rural and smaller markets in every state. My company, NewWave, serves 115,000 customers in Kentucky, Illinois, southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas, west Tennessee, and is headquartered in Sikeston, Missouri. Our members have historically invested in communities where the big guys find it unattractive to provide service. ACA members have built these networks without any direct federal subsidy. We view the broadband stimulus program as an important investment to deploy our networks deeper into rural communities so they can enjoy the benefits of access that many urban consumers take for granted. I'm pleased to report that in all, 83 ACA members have applied for $1.3 billion in grants and loans. My company, NewWave, has applied for $10.1 million in funds to upgrade fiber and cable facilities in 11 needy communities in Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and South Carolina. The network upgrades will be state-of-the-art fiber-to-the-curb designs that will offer data speeds up to 100 megabits per second. While we are hopeful that our application will be accepted, the process cost us over $50,000 to complete with no guarantee on funding. The vast majority of these areas NewWave has applied for are currently unserved and would not have broadband access without this program. As companies with decades of experience in rural America, ACA members have a proud track record of achievement that demonstrates why they are ideal candidates to receive funding from NTIA and RUS. ACA is pleased with the $800 million that has been dedicated for middle-mile projects, which are critical to the goal of speeding broadband deployment in rural areas. Our members have already upgraded their last-mile networks to provide faster broadband speeds. What's still needed is a better and more affordable middle-mile connection. That's the part of the network that runs between a cable broadband provider's central office and an access point to the Internet's backbone. Even though ACA members have upgraded their last-mile networks, the data choke point persists due to the lack of middle-mile facilities and insufficient capacity. End-user speeds in rural areas suffer as a result of limited or non-existent middle-mile capacity. Concerning the application process, there are many ACA members who would have applied for funding but were discouraged because of two specific requirements, both of which were discussed previously, and that's the first lien rule and the resale rule. The government's insistence on holding a first lien would violate the terms and conditions of many of our bank loan agreements, making it impossible to apply for funds. Next, the resale rule prohibits the sale of a federally funded project for 10 years. Such a restriction ignores that sometimes such transactions can be beneficial for consumers. While a company can seek a waiver, the standard to meet the waiver is very ambiguous. The application review process should be streamlined and simplified too. Because the agencies have not vetted applications to determine whether a market is already served, every broadband provider, whether they apply for funds or not, is burdened with reviewing all of the applications. Otherwise, the government could waste the limited resources funding a project where we are already providing broadband service. NewWave alone is spending more than $30,000 just to prove to the government where we already provide broadband service. This process is burdensome and time-consuming. It is almost impossible for our members to fully respond to applications in our service areas within the 30-day deadline. As recently as yesterday, the mapping tool was down for significant periods of time, limiting the ability of existing service providers to respond. If no objections are filed, the agencies presume there is no existing service where the applicant applied for funds. The agency should confirm if an area is already served and therefore not eligible for funding. Such information is readily available. Our members are already required to report to the FCC the broadband areas we serve. along with the number of subscribers and speeds every year by census tract location. At the very least, the agency should eliminate those applications that clearly do not meet the minimum criteria before incumbents are expected to review applications. Finally, we believe applicants should be able to apply for funding through either RUS or NTIA. All rural applicants must first file with RUS. The definition of remote, as has been discussed here today, is so narrow that it's hard to find areas, even in Iowa, that meet that standard. Non-remote rural areas are only eligible for a 50% loan grant combination. In conclusion, we believe that reasonable revisions to the funding programs will offer greater efficiency for all providers so rural communities receive the service they deserve. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer questions you all may have.